This is the Moshpit Backstage podcast for punk, metal, and rock interviews and segments.
Hi everybody, this is Mantas from Venom Inc. and we are heading your way very soon, and you are listening to the Moshpit on Sin. Keep it heavy, maximum respect, my friends.
Jeff Dunn is the guitarist for Venom Inc., who'll be touring Australia through February and March, playing some classic Venom songs and some tracks from Are, which they released last year. They'll be playing at Max Watts on the 1st of March in Melbourne. Jeff, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. It's good to be here. Excellent. Looking forward to it, mate.
Yeah, so am I. I'm very excited. Now, I don't... correct me if you're wrong, if I'm wrong, but I don't think you personally or Venom have ever played in Australia before. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. I don't know why. I had this question yesterday, and it's something we thought about. But I suppose the classic lineup, in the heyday when we were touring all over the place, we never hit Australia for whatever reason. Maybe it was too expensive to get there at the time. I don't know. We knew we had a fan base, but it was just something that just never happened for whatever reason. I don't know. But when the Venom Inc. thing came together, and I mean, you probably heard the tale. It sort of came together by accident, really, and then it just grew its own legs and kept going. It was when John Sazula came on board as the manager, and then, obviously the album came out and everything. And, we were talking about touring plans, and we said, the one place we've never been is Australia, let's get down there, So lo and behold, after a lot of planning, it's, finding the right people to do it. It's come around, so we're heading there very soon. And yeah, you're going to get what you expect, I suppose. There's, obviously because we've never been there, there's a lot of the, what people call classic songs. There's a lot of that in the set. There's new songs from Are, and there's a couple of things from the primeval period as well. So we're trying to cover all bases, but, wherever we play, it doesn't matter how many times we've been there. We would get lynched if we didn't play black metal, Countess Factory, Witch Hour, and all those things, So, those are staples in the set, I suppose. There's so many songs that people want to hear, and, we're fortunate in that position that we've got quite a rich catalogue. I don't know what it is, but you get a lot of bands, particularly from the new wave of British heavy metal era, which we were sort of lumped into, but, we never felt a part of. But a lot of those bands, they've got one or two songs that people go crazy for, and that's great, and there's a lot of those bands are still out there doing it now, but like I say, for whatever reason, I don't know, we just seem to have a bag full of them, and quite honestly, to see grown men my age, who have been with the band from day one, I suppose, at the front of the stage, and this has happened several times, and this is the honest truth, to see them cry when we kick into some of the really early stuff, it's unbelievable. But as a fan myself, every time I've seen Priest, particularly with KK, because he's my big hero, every time they started Victim of Changes, I was the same, eyes were full of tears. It was like, and music has that effect on you, it's a wonderful thing. So all in all, yeah, we're looking forward to getting down there and having some good nights of metal with all you Australian fans. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, well, we know that we can be a little bit difficult to visit sometimes, and we really appreciate you making the effort to come down here. Really appreciate it. It means so much to us.
No problem. Good to get there.
Now, I find myself fascinated because there can be so much variance between different people in the way they approach a live show, which is kind of something very specific to a really small subset of the population. How do you prepare for a show, in the hours leading up to getting on stage? How do you prepare for that?
Well, me, it's no secret, I suppose, now that, I'm always the quiet one in the band. I always have been. To be brutally honest with you, I'm quite shy. In interviews, I'll talk with back legs off a donkey, because I've got something to talk about. But I'm pretty useless in social situations and all that kind of thing. Where I live in a very, very small village. I'm very reclusive. And before a show, if you were to come on the tour bus before a show, you'll find it's very quiet. I'll be sitting practicing. Tony Dolan will be sitting there practicing or whatever, and it's, when we're not partying or anything like that before shows. So preparation wise, I suppose it's just getting in the zone for the show, warming up as usual. It's like, you're going into a prize fight, so you've got to get yourself warmed up there. So that's about it. But yeah, I mean, before a show, particularly, I think that the hour before the show, that the bus is very, very quiet. We're just sort of getting in the zone and getting ready. We've got our own little things that we do, and it's all about putting the battle dress on and getting ready for it, getting psyched up. And then as soon as we get side stage and the intro tape hits, then you get that adrenaline, and you can take on the world then. It's great, So, but yeah, it's pretty quiet before the shows.
That's fair enough. You mentioned a little bit earlier, you obviously want to maintain a balance between all the different, the Ave, the earlier stuff, the primeval period. How do you go about sort of figuring out, like, all right, this is it, we've got the right balance? How do you go about thinking, like, all right, we've really reached a stage where I think we're making everyone happy by including, the various parts of it? When do you know that's right?
I must admit, it is quite difficult. There's songs that we will never be able to take out of the set, whether we keep them for encores or whatever, songs that people expect to hear, I suppose, like I say, it's the same with me if I go to see Priest or Kiss, I want to hear the early stuff, the stuff that grabbed me at the beginning. But, we've had a lot of people who have said that they discovered Venom way back in the early days from the first single. We've had people who have said they discovered it at War with Satan and then went back and researched the catalogue. Other people discovered it at Primeval or Resurrection. And I've even spoken to some people, some young people now who, we're getting a lot of young fans coming on board, who just picked up Ave on recommendation and then thought, fuck, let's see what else the band have done, so that, but putting the songs in the set, I mean, quite honestly, like I say, I don't know what I've done in terms of songwriting, but it seems that there's a lot of songs in the bag, and we could be on stage for hours, So sometimes it is difficult to say, right, we need to take this one out or put that one in or whatever, Sometimes we gauge it by reaction, and we'll change the set as we go along on the tour. But then again, from city to city, it can be different, and we always, without fail, in between songs, we can hear people shout about different songs. Some of them which are in the set, and we'll have a little bit of a joke with the audience about, yeah, it's coming, just wait. But other songs where, we think, well, it's not in the set, and people are screaming for these things. And the good thing now is the last tour in America that we did, there's a lot of people shouting for the new stuff as well, which is encouraging. It's really encouraging, because we don't necessarily want to be one of these bands who just rest on our laurels and, okay, we've got a rich back catalogue, let's just go out and do that all the time, because you've got to evolve. You've got to keep trying to evolve, and I think Ave was the next logical step. And the reactions to Ave have been phenomenal. The industry, the reviews, I mean, I've been blown away by reviews. We've just been nominated for some award for Ave. I don't know exactly what it is. We've been in the top 10, if not number one. We've been in the top 10 of albums of 2017. We've been in the top 20, in the top 30, whatever. It hit the charts. So I'm very, very proud of the album. I mean, it was a stressful time writing it because, there wasn't really a Venom album had went out for a long time. You know, Cronos is doing his thing, but you know, we just sort of let him get on with what he's doing. But there was quite a bit of pressure with this album, and I must admit when I delivered it, you know, I did the mixing and the mastering, the production and everything. When I delivered it in Nuclear Blast, I'm not ashamed to say that I was myself. You know, it was like, well, I just hope this is, you know, what they expect and what they want. You know, they'd heard the demos, they loved them. And then when the news came back that everybody, all the Nuclear Blast branches across the world, they all loved the album and they were firmly behind it. You know, big sigh of relief on my part particularly. But you know, it's been so well received, you know, and you know, we've got to get out there and promote it. But as I've said, we'll never get away from, you know, the black metals, the witching hours, the Countess Bathory's Don't Burn the Witch, Buried Alive, all that. And you guys are going to get the whole fucking gamut. I'm telling you now, you're going to get it.
No, that's great to hear. In regards to the album, like I had a really great chat last year with Tony, talking a lot about the themes and particularly about his sort of own personal beliefs in Luciferianism. And it's kind of interesting contrasting that with the lyrics in certain ways. What is your interest in some of these kind of topics of the darker aspects of, I don't know, society? Where does that stem from?
Well, I mean, as a kid, you know, I grew up, particularly my grandfather. He used to, you know, when I used to go and stay at my grandparents' house, he would let me stay up late and watch all the old black and white horror movies. He was a bit of a horror movie buff. And he used to buy me, every month there was an import magazine called Monster Mag. And that had all the Draculas and Frankensteins and werewolves and everything in it. So I was always sort of drawn to that thing. And there was a series of models made by a Canadian company called Aurora. And it was all that. It was Phantom of the Opera, Dracula, Werewolf, and, you know, and I had them all. You know, I used to sit there for hours making these models, and they were all in my bedroom, and all used to glow in the dark. So I was a little bit of a weird kid, like. But so my interest stemmed from that. I've got no religious beliefs whatsoever. I believe in universal creation. I believe in the law of attraction. You know, I believe in, you know, positivity, negativity, all that kind of thing. But I don't necessarily believe, you know, that there is an entity of evil. I mean, you've just got to look at the news channels, mate. You know, and you know, when you turn on the news, you're going to see far more shocking images and news items and anything like that. Far more shocking than any horror film or any piece of music. And that's real. That's happening in the world today. And when I wrote the track Bloodstained, that was basically a little bit of a commentary on the state of the planet. You know, as a human race, we're supposedly the most intelligent beings on this planet. And, you know, we're each other up. Nobody can agree with anybody else, you know, and we're the planet up. And it's like, you know, come on, guys, you know, what the is going on? And that's not down to some, you know, deity anywhere. That's down to the human race. You know, I mean, you know, if you're walking down a dark alley, do you have to be worried about getting mugged by a pack of dogs or a cat or a sheep or anything like that? No, it's the humans you've got to watch for. So I think that's where my standpoint in it all is. And as you get older, I suppose, you know, you look at these things and you think, oh, come on, what the you know, it doesn't matter what religion or political thing or whatever it is, you know, it's time to put all these differences aside, and it's like, we may not agree with each other, but let's at least coexist with each other, you know. We don't, you know, just because I like Judas Priest and you like Led Zeppelin, I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to you up for that, you know. And that's another thing with it. You know, when I did the track Black and Roll, you know, Black and Death and Thrash and Go, hey, it's only rock and roll. And it's just a statement, I think, from me personally, because, you know, we created the black metal thing, you know, and then there was a million other genres came out after that. Like, and it's, you know, it's sort of divided metal a little bit. And I think it's time to just get back under the flag of heavy metal, you know. We're all in it together. Music is our last universal language. It brings everybody together. The heavy metal community is wonderful. It's a worldwide family. We've been in China, and to see a Chinese audience singing Countess Back is incredible, So like I say, the music, for fuck's sake, don't let us f*** that up and divide that. Whatever form it is, it doesn't matter what kind of music it is, it brings everybody together. But I think a lot of the commentaries on RV, say for example, Forged in Hell, that's just basically about us playing live. Metal We Bleed is all about the fans, and then you've got the typical Venom content in there. Dying Fleisch is about man's dark side and how far he explores it. You've probably seen the video for that and the lyrics and everything like that. Because everybody has got that dark side to them. It's in various stages, So yeah, I mean, and Preacher Man, I mean, that track, that's just, I suppose that's just a commentary on just being yourself. It's not directed against any one particular faction or politics or anything like that. It's just, it could be your next door neighbor telling you that your grass isn't as good as his. It's like, it's just about being an individual. It's about, being yourself, being the best version of yourself you can be. You don't need to listen to anybody else. And obviously, you're on this planet once, and I firmly believe that you've got to make the most of it and take every opportunity that you get. Live your life the way you want to, because at the end of the day, you could walk out the door and get hit by the bus. And when I say live your life the way you want to, I mean that's not to the detriment of others. It's time to start looking after each other on this planet. It's as simple as that. It might sound a little bit sort of, Woodstock hippy-dippy, but, I'd rather see peace, love and flowers than what the hell's going on in the world today. So I think RV's got a lot of those commentaries on the album.
I couldn't agree more. Venom Inc. will be touring Australia, playing at Max Watts on the 1st of March. Jeff, thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait to see you guys down here.
I'm so stoked to get down there. Can't wait to see everybody. So get yourselves down to the venues. Have a good night. Let's forget all our problems. Play some metal. Have a good time. Maximum respect to every single one of you.
Thanks for listening to the Moshpit Backstage podcast. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and Omni. To find out more about the show, go to www.syn.org.au/moshpit. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/moshpitonsin and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at moshpitsin. The regular Moshpit radio show broadcasts punk, rock and metal tunes and interviews every Thursday nights on SYN 90.7 on FM and digital radios. Listeners outside of Melbourne, Australia can stream SYN 9.7 online at www.syn.org.au. Thanks to Vintage Ruin for the music.
Hi, this is Tommaso from Flash Gun Apocalypse.
Hi, I'm Enid from Girls School.
I am Phoebe Pinnock from Heavenly Axe.
Hey, this is Gary Oldmead of the Misfits.
Hey, this is Kat Sproul from Horizon's Edge, and you're listening to the Moshpit on SYN FM.
Hi, this is Eine from Leopard.
Hi, I'm Virginia Lilly from the band Lily.
This is Raul from 1349.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ali from Zebrahead.
Hey, everybody, this is Charlie Benante with Anthrax, and you are listening to the Moshpit on SYN.